battlefield disasters, internal unrest, mass exodus of his country. Russian President Vladimir Putin is facing one of the most intense political crises of his entire career. So much hinges on this war in Ukraine, a war he chose, a war he started, and yet the entirety of his future power hinges on this war. Unable to win, yet unwilling to lose, Vladimir Putin has chosen mobilization of the Russian population. The result? Absolute chaos. It looks like another Russian revolution may be brewing, and it also looks like Russia's current czar, Vladimir Putin, may fall. Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Coffee and Current Events. Today we have another Ukraine update for you guys. Before we jump into this video, make sure to smash that subscribe button, that way you're not missing out on any new content, because we'll be diving into some intense, very controversial topics on Coffee and Current Events that the media is not going to tell you about. So make sure you smash the subscribe button. Without further ado, let's jump into this video. With his war in Ukraine turning into a climactic disaster, President Putin is left with few options on the table. Option number one, he can withdraw his troops completely from Ukraine and admit defeat, something he is absolutely unwilling to do. Option number two, he can continue this seemingly unwinnable war and call for mobilization of the Russian armed forces. Option number three, he can use tactical nuclear weapons in an extreme attempt to break the will of the Ukraine. It looks like Vladimir Putin has chosen option number two, mobilization. After suffering immense casualties and hitting a stalemate, President Putin was left with a very limited amount of options. However, it seemed as if President Putin wanted to wait the thing out and hope Russia would finally break the stalemate and it would lead to some kind of victory, likely the annexation of the Donetsk Oblast. However, very recently, Ukraine launched the 2022 Ukrainian Kharkiv counteroffensive, which drove the Russians almost out of the entirety of the Kharkiv Oblast and forced the Russian armed forces into a total, disorderly retreat. Until a few days ago, it seemed as if the Ukrainian counteroffensive has stalled. However, it has not. As you can see down here, Ukraine has made a tremendous breakthrough on the 24th of September, right here in this area of the Kharkiv Oblast, across the Oskol River. As if this weren't bad enough, a leak revealed that Russian forces had actually asked for permission to withdraw in order to get more favorable positions down here in the south next to Kherson. However, President Putin refused and would not allow any withdrawal that would give up Kherson City. According to President Putin, he was going to authorize a partial mobilization of the Russian armed forces. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu clarified that this would include about 300,000 reserves. According to Putin's televised address, only citizens who are currently in the reserve and above all those who serve in the armed forces have certain military specialties and relevant experience will be subject to conscription. However, reports suggest that in this decree there was a secret clause that allowed Putin to mobilize 1 million personnel. However, according to Meduza, a Russian and English language independent news channel, 1.2 million people will be mobilized in this mobilization plan. This mobilization has caused tremendous uproar all throughout Russia. Within minutes after Putin's announcement of the mobilization plan, flights out of Russia to countries like Turkey sold out within minutes after this announcement. Thousands of Russians began flocking to the borders of Georgia, Armenia, Kazakhstan, Finland, and many other countries bordering Russia in a desperate attempt to escape Putin's conscription plan. Right now, President Putin is facing a serious dilemma. When Putin chose his war in Ukraine, he may have signed his own political coffin because he chose a war that Russia was simply not able to fight. In a one-on-one war with Ukraine, Russia would have almost certainly defeated Ukraine. But as the West had warned previously, it would not just be a one-on-one war. The West would give economic support and military support to Ukraine, which is exactly what they have done. Russia is currently in no position, nor has it ever been, to face a war, whether indirect or direct, with the collective West. These people who are being conscripted are not just typical military personnel. These are normal people being pulled from their jobs, pulled from their normal life, and being sent to the special military operation. This means the people that are being conscripted do not want to fight this war. They don't want to go. They do not want to fight. And yet they're going to be sent into Ukraine. This is the recipe for an absolute humiliation of the Russian armed forces. You can't just decide to send 1 million people who don't want to go somewhere and then think they're going to perform what you want them to perform. There have been reports of Russian conscripts receiving AKMs that are completely rustic. They have rust all over them. These guns cannot be considered combat effective. According to Gennady Zyuganov, the leader of the Communist Party of Russia, 2 weeks of training is enough. 2 weeks of training does not make an effective police officer, let alone an effective soldier in a war zone. When these soldiers get to the field and actually start experiencing the reality of combat, the likelihood that they will actually stand there and fight is extremely low, considering they never wanted to be there in the first place. Instead of sending possibly 1 million assets into Ukraine, he is going to send up to 1 million liabilities into Ukraine. If Putin fails in this war effort against Ukraine, he will almost certainly lose his power over Russia. Facing internal unrest and external disaster, Putin is trapped, and that may prove dangerous. There's a saying that says, don't corner somebody, because if you corner them, they'll jump. And that's exactly what it seems may be going on with Putin. That's all we have for you guys today. I'll keep you guys updated on the latest news regarding Ukraine and Russia and the entire world. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, that way you won't miss out on any news coming to you, and share this video with a friend, that way they won't miss out either. God bless, and I'll see you guys next time.